Hi, and welcome to Assignment the World for the week of February 7th. I'm Tej Jenkins. In our top story this week, President Obama and members of Congress agree to take action on immigration reform.
President Obama spoke at a Las Vegas high school last week about immigration reform, saying now is the time to replace an out-of-date system. The president focused on three parts of immigration reform: better enforcement of immigration laws, helping the more than 11 million illegal immigrants currently in the United States, and changing the legal immigration system. Earlier in the week, 8 senators drafted an overhaul to the immigration system. This draft included steps for current illegal immigrants to become citizens. But the plan is similar to previous immigration reform plans that failed in recent years.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, in 2010, the United States immigrant population was close to 40 million. That is 13% of the total U.S. population. 29% of all immigrants in the United States are Hispanic.
And in the rest of the news this week, powerful storms cause problems in parts of the U.S. Gabrielle Gifford speaks to Congress about gun control, and John Kerry replaces Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State.
Hillary Clinton officially stepped down as the nation's 67th Secretary of State last week after 4 years in the position. In a letter sent to President Obama shortly before she was to leave the State Department for the last time, Clinton thanked her former rival in the 2008 Democratic presidential nomination for the opportunity to serve in his administration. Clinton said it had been an honor to be part of his cabinet and that she remained convinced of the strength and staying power of American global leadership. John Kerry was sworn in as Clinton's successor during a private ceremony last Friday. Kerry has served in the Senate since 1984 and was a 2004 Democratic presidential nominee. Former U.S. Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords urged Congress last week to act on curbing gun violence in the country. Giffords, with her husband Mark Kelly by her side, appeared as an unscheduled witness at the year's first congressional hearing for gun violence. In halting words, she acknowledged that speaking was hard for her, but said violence is a big problem. The Arizona Democrat was badly injured in a shooting massacre in Tucson, Arizona, which left 6 people dead. Massive storms that caused tornadoes and high winds whipped through the southeastern part of the United States last week. Homes and businesses were demolished by the powerful storms. A funnel cloud was seen bearing down on Adairsville, about 60 miles northwest of Atlanta, Georgia. State emergency officials said 1 person was killed and 9 were hospitalized with minor injuries.
In our top story, how many illegal immigrants did we say are in the United States? Was it more than 11 million? Less than 11 million? More than 11 billion? And the correct answer is number 1. There are more than 11 million illegal immigrants in the United States.
And now it's time for the answers to last week's clues in the news. Find the location of our first clue and you get Amsterdam, Netherlands. After 33 years, Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands has decided to give up her crown. The Queen has decided to give the throne to her oldest son, Prince Willem-Alexander. The monarch made the announcement last week, just days before her 75th birthday. Abdication or leaving the position of a queen or a king is a common practice in the Dutch monarchy. Unscramble the letters of our second clue and you get Sandy relief. Last week, the Senate approved $50 billion in aid to the states hit by Superstorm Sandy. The bill was approved almost a month late, which caused lawmakers in the states hit by the storms to become upset. The bill will include money for spending on homes, businesses, and the improvement of electrical grids and transit systems. Fill in the blanks of our third clue and you get Super Bowl. The Baltimore Ravens beat the San Francisco 49ers 34-31 in the Super Bowl over the weekend. The Ravens quarterback Joe Flacco was named the most valuable player of the game. This Super Bowl was the longest game in history because of a blackout that caused a half-an-hour game delay.
This week in world history, February 5th, 1917, Congress overturns President Woodrow Wilson's veto and passes the Immigration Act with a 2/3 majority vote. The law required immigrants to pass a literacy test before entering the United States. In 1924, another law was passed requiring immigration inspections of the immigrants' original country. This led to the closure of Ellis Island and other immigration processing centers.
Today, we begin Black History Month with a visit to Garth Fagan and Wynton Marsalis, who use dance and music to bring people of all cultures together. Check it out.
All the great artists that I was ever fortunate to be around, they were never kind of race people,
right,
who were only about their thing. They were always about the human heritage. They embraced their ethnic heritage. That's the first sign of their power and their sense of self. But they understood how their ethnic heritage fits most importantly in the context of the human heritage. Yeah. I mean, I was meeting a lot of the great figures like Ralph Ellison, Romare Bearden. I would go to Bearden's studio, August Wilson, Garth. So I had that opportunity to understand I'm a part of something this large.
And see what preceded him and understand it. Because lots of kids today, they think everything started with them and their generation. But he understood how far back it go back to Pops, to Louis Armstrong, you know.
And just to see what he was doing and how sophisticated he was in the dedication the dancers had to him and his vision, it was very uplifting.
Lots of the negativity of today, it exists. It's for real. Racism exists, sexism exists, whatever, all of that is for real. But real successful people look at it straight in the eye and fight it and come up with alternatives and hopefully come up with a brand new message that's rich, humanistic, that people in any culture, any language can feel, you know, in the innermost center of their beings.
The ice was flying at Helsinki Zoo in Finland over the weekend as international sculptors turned lumps of frozen water into works of art. On Saturday, 8 sculptors began their work, armed with chainsaws and other tools like irons. The artists represented countries as diverse as Finland, Mongolia, USA, and Australia. The theme of this year's competition was Life on the Baltic Sea.
Last year, a 16-year-old found herself facing serious consequences after posting an angry tweet against President Obama. While some people saw it as a poor choice but an act of free speech, many others, including the Secret Service, saw it as a threat to the president, which is against the law. Some feel that even though she acted irresponsibly, she has the right to free speech. They feel that the First Amendment protects her voice and her opinion, regardless of whether or not we agree with what she said. Others strongly disagree and feel that freedom of speech does not protect the act of making threats against our president or anybody else. They believe that it is not a violation of the First Amendment to punish people for using threatening or offensive language against others. Well, we want to know what you think. Do you think that all speech is protected by the First Amendment? Why or why not? We encourage you to refer to the First Amendment of our nation's Constitution and then write to us with your opinions. We received over 150 responses to our issue question. Do you think President Obama's second term will be more successful than his first? The majority of you, 64%, say yes, while 33% say no. 6% are undecided. Hallie from Binghamton, New York writes, I think that President Obama's second term will be less successful than the first because historically, 12 out of the 19 presidents that have been reelected have failed at doing their job, letting their egos bills get too big. Obama is not being cooperative with Congress right now and has made very little progress. Jonathan from Jamestown, North Dakota writes, his second term will not be better because America still has debt of $20 trillion and it's not going down. He did not keep his promises. Jack from Loudonville, New York says President Obama made a huge impact on America during his first 4 years. And in my opinion, he can't top that. During his first term, he helped care for the victims of Hurricane Sandy, added Obamacare, and helped our country avoid the fiscal cliff. These are great accomplishments. But still, most of you feel that President Obama's second term will be more successful. Sarah from Binghamton, New York writes, Obama has accomplished so much in his past term, such as saving the auto industry and tightening gun control laws to make America safer. He is obviously capable of helping people and America, and his first term was only the beginning. Cormac from Fargo, North Dakota says, it's like making a wooden race car. Obama's first year was only a practice year. He now knows what to fix and repair. Trey from Sergeant Bluff, Iowa says, I think that Obama had a decent first term, but now that he has had some experience, he should know how to do even better. His second term is going to define his presidency. Well, we look forward to your responses to our latest questions. Should women in the U.S. military be allowed into combat? And do you think that all speech is protected by the First Amendment? Why or why not? We'll put some of the more thought-provoking emails and letters on air. Don't forget, you can write to us here at Assignment The World, Post Office Box 30021, Rochester, New York 14603. Or you may contact us at the ATW website, atwonline.org.
In our second story, who did we say is taking over as Secretary of State? Is it Joe Biden? John Kerry? Gabrielle Giffords? And the correct answer is number 2. Massachusetts Senator John Kerry took over as U.S. Secretary of State last week.
Global markets.
And now it's time for next week's Clues in the News. Our first clue is a location. 30 degrees, 3 minutes north latitude, 31 degrees, 15 minutes east longitude. Our next clue is a scrambled letters clue, and it is one word. First, T-S-O-D-R-I-A-E. And finally, our third clue is a fill-in-the-blank clue, and it is 4 words. First word, blank O-Y, blank L. Second word, blank A, blank K. Third word, blank F. Fourth word, S blank O-T blank A-N blank. These are clues to stories we think will happen in the coming weeks. We'll reveal the answers on next week's show. Good luck. And that's it for this week's show. But before we go, I'd like to give a shout out to Hustisford School District in Wisconsin. Thanks for watching. From all of us here at Assignment The World, I'm Tej Jenkins. Have a great week.